We are back and we're going to keep rocking and rolling on tonight's episode, talking about leadership expectations. And we just had a good first segment talking about the positive, choosing to be positive, and picking out the quality traits of a leader from the first 3 days of Donald Trump. And now we're going to transition over to how does that apply to you, the entrepreneur, the leader, the person that wants more influence on your team or in your organization or the business that you're running. And I'm going to break that down simply. You heard me end the first segment talking about the first 4 hours. There's an ebook that I've written through CS Business Consulting, and there's a couple of speeches and processes that I give. What I want to talk to you is how you can take actions with great leadership traits and put them into practice in the first 4 hours. We oftentimes think of these timelines. There's the famous TV show, The First 48. And if you look at the First 48 TV show, they're telling you that statistically, if you're trying to solve a murder, you've got about 48 hours to identify a suspect and really get your hooks into the investigation, or it's likely going to go unsolved. You have 1 hour to respond inside of a heart attack to get to the hospital to really increase your chances of living and surviving through that heart attack without any permanent damage. So there's these timelines where we can see statistical effectiveness. And in the business world, the leadership world, the first 4 hours of taking on a new position, coming into a new team, or for example, I'm going to focus on bringing on new team members or teams in general, that first 4 hours is pretty crucial. Timing is kind of everything here. So I want to walk you through this process during this segment right here and tell you about how you can systematically set yourself up for success and your team in that first 4 hours. So we're going to play here's the first day on the job for a new hire. This person has gone through the process, everything is done, and they are officially reporting to duty for the first time. One of the things that you want to do is you want to have a warm welcome for this person. You want to give them introductions into their workspace. You want to give them introductions and familiarity with the building and where the bathrooms and the lounge is located and where maybe the different departments and divisions are. Familiarity, a little comfort. Let's get rid of those quick, confusing question marks right away. Then you're going to also give introductions to teams, whether it's their team or a neighboring team, a division or a department. You're going to introduce them to people, walk them around and say, hey, here's the new girl, here's the new guy, and have them go through. Provide them some comfort. It's a really good idea to have a cup of coffee or maybe some donuts or a healthy snack available so that they can be welcomed on their first day and it feels a little bit more like a celebration. Congratulations on bringing yourself on board with us. One of the things that does, it helps set the tone of a solid welcome, of getting to have some comfort, knowing all those little nitty gritty things that some people may be afraid to ask. You're just going to go ahead and answer the question without making them ever have to ask. Another thing that is really obvious is that you want to give them access, various access. So this could be something like giving them a key fob or a key to the front door or access to their division if you live in a much larger corporate structure. Give them their keys, give them their logins, give them their permissions to access what they're going to need to be accessing. So immediately they feel like they're welcome and part of the team. They've been introduced, they've been shown around, they know where the break room is, and now they know how to log in and get into the building by themselves and start feeling like they belong. This is the part of the process that kind of makes them official. I've got my first password, my first login, my first set of keys. That's really important because it's a mental hurdle that has to get over that I belong here now. I'm part of this team. The other thing that is really important is now you want to start some sit down conversations with them. And you want to get into a discussion with people where you're talking about who we are as a culture. This can be done as you're walking around and settling back into the office. So if you're some type of team leader, office manager that is giving this person their first day welcome and first day to set the tone, you are going to set the tone on your culture. This is the day where you say, we are these type of people. We show up, we laugh, we make fun of each other, but we work hard, we stick to the grind, and we enjoy producing good hard work. We enjoy being the people that can beat a deadline. We enjoy being the people that can have a high five from the client or the customer when they leave our presence. That's where people really get that, like, okay, these subconscious goals that I'm having is I get to celebrate when something good happens. I'm trying to beat deadlines, right? If this is a culture of everybody here beats deadlines, well, I better from day one jump on and comply with having the mindset of beating deadlines and celebrating success and high-fiving customers. How much is just those couple of simple sentences going to change how they start? They're not going to learn some secret culture in the organization because you just told them what the overt and obvious culture is supposed to be. You're going to tell them about the work ethic and the internal community that you have. Oh, we like to do this fun thing where on birthdays we all go around the table and everybody has to say one thing they love or like about that person whose birthday it is. So we're going to shower them with compliments on their birthday. That's a little bit different of a culture than probably what most people do. And you can say all the little fun activities. Oh, every Friday we all go eat Mexican after work or for lunch or something like that. And oh, during this time of the year, the boss always orders barbecue and we have a big cookout barbecue thing. And you bring them into the culture saying that we belong together, we involve ourselves together, and we do this. After that step of setting the tone on culture and going into the dynamics that are usually not spoken, now you can go into a little bit more of the formal stuff. You're going to start setting clear expectations. These are the formalities that we would now finally think is more part of the first day. Oh, and by the way, during your hiring process, you also hinted and told a little bit about the culture and who you were. So they could immediately determine that, like, hey, if this is a high relationship area, I was hoping to just be a backroom data entry person. I really didn't want a lot of human exposure. Well, that might not be the culture, and they may not want to take the job, and you may identify that on the front end. But now that you've reestablished your culture on the actual first day after the hiring, you can move forward into this part. The setting of clear expectations is really important. This is where you do the normal stuff of, hey, here is your SOP, your standard operating procedures or your policies. Here is the general job responsibilities for what you are going to be doing while you are here. And you get to explain to them that, hey, I hired you to do this exact purpose and to follow these exact rules. This talks about time off. This talks about dress code, everything from sexual harassment and drug and abuse policies to confidentiality and how you get to use company equipment and things like that. So those SOPs have to be gone through. It's just an essential portion of the job. That's part of your first 4 hours. So think back to the last segment. Donald Trump said, hey, here's our new operating procedures. Here's our new responsibilities. Here's this new person I've appointed to a cabinet and what their job responsibilities are. And they're doing all of these things. Okay. So this is now the business side of it, not the political government run side of things. A fun part of this is that when you get in here and you share these expectations, you can also tap the brakes just a little bit and give them some reassurances. I'm going to expect you to work 40 hours a week and accomplish this many projects or this many hours in client interface and this many hours in behind the scenes sales, whatever the job may entail. I may have you go and you have to do 3 irrigation jobs a week. Okay. You have the expectations set and you have those boundaries and you tell them how to clean up after themselves, properly prep and maintain safety protocols, how to keep client information confidential, and when to do and not do certain things. But the fun part is you also get to say, hey, I'm going to assign you mentors. So even though I'm the team leader, even the boss of the company or an office manager, I'm not going to be your one-stop shop for answers. This person's going to ask you or mentor you in some of the bookkeeping areas if we're talking about an accounting firm. And this person here is going to start leading you through tax code and tax law and educating you there. And this person right here is going to teach you about the administrative procedures so you know exactly how to get the ins and outs of our softwares, what our workflow and what our systems look like. And you're going to be expected to follow the workflow and rely on the systems that we've put in place. So this is a great way to develop somebody from day one on how they're going to produce, how they're going to progress, and how they're going to learn over time. After you get those boundaries and expectations, one of the expectations would be I expect you to try to answer things yourself by looking it up. And then I want you to phone a friend, use a peer before you go up to management, before you go up to upper management, or you walk into the partner's door and just say, hey, boss, what do I do here? There should be a chain of command, a 5 to 15-minute rule that you've heard me talk about. Well, that comes in the first 4 hours. Then you go and you give them their first assignments. And hey, on this first assignment, I am going to slowly increase your workload. We're not going to kill you from day one. It's not one of these baptism by fire situations. We're going to go ahead and you're going to actually feel a little bored in your first few days at work. So we start adding workload. We start making sure that you're understanding and you're grasping all of the basics, all the concepts. You're able to get logged in. All those technical issues are worked out. Now, here's your first assignments. It's due here. Make sure it gets reviewed. Make sure you do X, Y, and Z. Here's your second assignment, fourth assignment, 10th assignment. Here is your permanent or recurring workload. And we're going to give it. So by the time a week and a half to 2 weeks is over, you should be filling up your workload to 80% plus of what you're actually going to be maintaining at capacity. And then what I like to think is one of the most significant parts of this is you have to redeliver your mission, your vision, and your core values. Now, these things should have at least come up during the hiring process. This is the mission of Shelton Associate CPA or CS Business Consulting. Here's the vision and where we see ourselves going and the people that we want to support this. And all of the workflow clients and systems support the daily mission and the accomplishment of our eventual vision. Here's our core values of what we rely on to execute all of these things. These are written down workable tools that you're going to hand to these people. So at the end of the 4 hours, they're going to sign off that they receive the SOPs. They're going to sign off that they have any policies, job responsibilities, copies of the workflow, things like that. They're going to understand that your mentors are these, your boundaries and expectations are here, that I received a copy of the mission, the vision, and the core values. And then lastly, you deliver that very important leadership philosophy to your new person. That tells them exactly who you are as a leader, how you think, how you believe, and how you act. And that is a tool where they can take it and they can hold it up and examine it. And they can take any decision that may show up in the work life and say, here's my leader's brain. I can now answer that question based on having a reference tool, the leadership philosophy of my leader. And if you examine back to what Donald Trump did and what other great leaders do, you'll see that somewhere this first 4 hour process is followed. Again, large government may take several days, smaller company may take 4 hours. But if you can get this system in place, read the ebook, start implementing those things, you'll have a much more successful implementation and a much more defined culture and productive working staff underneath you. Sit tight. We'll be back for more about developing people right after this commercial break on Pivotal Change.